guys, we are back with another song by Eminem. And which one are we doing today?
Today we're doing Mosh. Do you know it?
I don't think I do.
Yeah, so I don't particularly listen to the song a lot, so I don't necessarily think that you would know it. It was a single off the album. There was a music video. It's a political protest song
Hmm,
against George W. Bush and the wars, the war on terror, all that.
interesting.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's not really ringing a bell, but I guess we shall see.
Yes.
And don't forget to like and subscribe and follow us on social media channels. Links are in the description below.
Yes.
Okay.
Mosh.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America. And to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible.
It feels so good to be back. Scrutinize every word, memorize every line. I spit it once, refuel, re-energize, and rewind. I can sight to the blind, mind sight through the mind. I exercise my right to express when I feel it's time. It's just all in your mind, what you interpret it as. I say the fight, you take it as I'ma whip someone's ass. If you don't understand, don't even bother to ask. A father who has grown up with a fatherless past, who has grown up now to rap phenomenon that has, or at least shows no difficulty multitasking and juggling both. Perhaps mastered his craft slash entrepreneur who has helped launch a few more rap acts, who's had a few obstacles thrown his way through the last half of his career. Typical manure, moving past that. Mr. Kiss's ass crack, he's a class act. Rubber band man, yeah, he just snaps back. Come along.
I might recognize it.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe.
So as I said, it was a single. There was a music video, so maybe you came across it at some point.
I like the beat a lot.
Yeah, it's very good. It mirrors to me, at least like in the Eminem show, like the soldier. Obviously, it's a common theme, the military. So it's
Yeah,
got that like drummer, like the old
it sounds like
school.
marching a
Exactly.
little bit
Like back in the old war movies, they would literally have a drummer keeping beat while the
while they
soldiers
marched.
marched.
Yeah.
This and just like soldier and shit, this like reminds me of that. So the song starts off with a bunch of kids reciting the Pledge of Allegiance, and then you hear a plane going and then crashing into a building, which I'm assuming referencing 9/11, and then you hear gunfire, which,
The war
represents
started after that.
exactly. Yes. So he says, Mosh with me now. He says, I scrutinize every word, memorize every line. I spit it once, refuel, re energize, and rewind.
That's a good line.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. I give sight to the blind, my insight through the mind. I exercise my right to express when I feel it's time. So, yeah, he's literally just talking about his lyrics, how powerful and, he's speaking and to a whole group of people in the country, you know what I mean? He gives sight to the blind. Okay, so then he says, I exercise my right to express when I feel it's time. It's just all in your mind, what you interpret it as. I say to fight, you take it as I'm a whip someone's ass. So he's referring to freedom of speech here,
Yeah.
obviously exercising his right to express when you feel it's time. And then he's saying he's telling people to fight, and some people are like, oh, that's a call to violence. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
he's like, you interpret it as that I'm a whip someone's ass when he's just saying, no, I'm just expressing, fight, like,
Yeah. Like it doesn't have to
metaphorically.
be like physical.
Exactly. Then he goes on to say, if you don't understand, don't even bother to ask. A father who has grown up with a fatherless past. So obviously,
Talking about himself.
yes, Haley has a daughter. His father left when he was younger. He continues, who has blown up now to rap phenomenon that has, or at least shows no difficulty multitasking. So he's talking about his fame. He could do multiple things. Um, and in juggling both perhaps mastered his craft / entrepreneur who has held onto. So I don't think that wording's right. It is, so it's funny because this is very wordy, this part of the song
Yeah.
here, but I do think they okay, and juggling both perhaps mastered his craft, entrepreneur who's helped launch a few more rapped acts.
Okay. Oh, like other people. Okay.
Yeah. So yeah, his he's a master at his craft and he's helped, 50 Cent, G Unit. He signed Obi Trice at this time, so he had a few people going on. Who's had a few obstacles thrown his way through the last half of his career. Typical manure, moving past that. Mr. Kiss His Ass Crack, he's a class act. So he's saying in the later half of his career, so this was 2004 when this album came out. So in those recent years, he's saying he's had a lot of bullshit to deal with and typical manure. It's just typical people hating, trying to bring him down. You know what I mean? Not really having any substantive critiques on his skill or anything like that. And then he said Mr. Kiss His Ass Crack, so, he's known for telling people to fuck off. But then also he's a class act, which is, an interesting dichotomy. And then Rubber Band Man, yeah, he just snaps back.
That's a good line.
Yeah, I'm wondering if this was before T.I.'s. I know that phrase was a phrase, but I don't remember now when Rubber Band Man came. It's funny. All right, yeah, we'll pick it up here.
He just snaps back. Come along, follow me as I lead through the darkness. As I provide just enough spark that we need to proceed. Carry on, give me hope, give me strength. Come with me, and I won't steer you wrong. Put your faith and your trust as I guide us through the fog to the light. At the end of the tunnel, we gon' fight, we gon' charge, we gon' storm, we gon' march through the swamp, we gon' march through the marsh. Take us right through the doors. Come on, people up top. On the side, in the middle, come together, let's all form and storm just a little. Just let it gradually build from the front to the back. All you can see is the sea of people, some white and some black. No matter what color, all that matters, we're gathered together to celebrate for the same cause. No matter the weather, if it rains, let it rain. Yeah, the wetter, the better. They ain't gonna stop us, they can't. We're stronger now more than ever. They tell us no, we say yeah. They tell us stop, we say go. Rebel with a rebel yell. Raise hell, we gon' let them know. Storm, push, shove, mush, fuck push. Until they bring our troops home. Come on, just come along.
All right. So we're starting to get a little more political now. So the chorus is come along, follow me as I lead through the darkness, as I provide just enough spark that we need to proceed. Carry on, give me hope, give me strength, come with me, and I won't steer you wrong.
Okay.
Interesting chorus.
Yeah, it's alright.
So, put your faith and your trust as I got us through the fog to the light at the end of the tunnel. We gonna fight. We gonna charge. We gonna stomp. We gonna march through the swamp. We gonna mosh through the marsh. Take us right through the doors. It's so wordy.
That's like his name, Marshall.
Yeah, it's interesting.
Yeah, it
Yes.
is like very wordy.
Yeah, it is. And then verse. It says, all the people up top, on the side, and the middle come together. Let's all, I think it says, form and swarm. Let's see. I have the lyrics on my phone here. Let's all form and swarm just a little, not bomb or swamp. So he's saying, everybody, top, side, middle, let's come together, form a group, and swarm.
That's cool.
Yeah. And he says, just let it gradually build from the front to the back. All you can see is a sea of people, some white and some black. So he's saying he wants to bring everybody together.
Yeah, to fight together.
Yes. And he says, don't matter what color, all that matters, we gathered together to celebrate for the same cause. Don't matter the weather. If it rains, let it rain. Yeah, the wetter the better. They ain't gonna stop us. They can't. We stronger now more than ever. So
Interesting.
again, blacks, whites, everybody, we're gonna come together. It doesn't matter how tough it is, if it's gonna be messy, we're gonna get through it, we're gonna handle this. They can't stop us because there's so many of us. They tell us They tell us no, we say yeah. They tell us stop, we say go. Rebel with a rebel yell. Raise hell, we gonna let them know. So I actually really like the way the
Yeah,
way
it sounds
it's
pretty
worded.
cool.
Rebel with a rebel yell. Raise hell, we
Mhm.
gonna let them know. Stomp, push, shove, mush, fuck Bush until they bring our troops home. So I always thought the mush is funny.
Yeah, should be like mush, right?
Yeah,
But
just
it has to rhyme with
Bush,
bush.
exactly. Yeah. Yeah, so fuck Bush until they bring our troops home. So it's interesting if you take it literally. It sounds like if Bush would have brought the troops home, then I guess not fuck him anymore. You know what I mean?
Maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe.
All right. And then we're up to this chorus again. So we will pick up here.
Just come along, follow me as I lead through the darkness. As I provide just enough spark that we need to proceed. Carry on, give me hope, give me strength. Come with me, and I won't steer you wrong. Put your faith and your trust as I guide us through the fog to the light. At the end of the tunnel, we gon' fight, we gon' charge, we gon' storm, we gon' march through the smoke, we gon' march through the marsh. Take us right through the doors. Come on, imagine it pouring, it's raining down on us. Mosh pits outside the Oval Office. Someone's trying to tell us something. Maybe this is God just saying we're responsible for this monster, this coward that we have empowered. This is Bin Laden. Look at his head nodding. How could we allow something like this without pumping our fists? Now this is our final hour. Let me be the voice and your strength and your choice. Let me simplify the rhyme just to amplify the noise. Try to amplify times it and multiplied by 16 million people are equal at this high pitch. Maybe we can reach Al Qaeda through my speech. Let the president answer high anarchy. Strap him with an AK-47. Let him go fight his own war. Let him impress daddy that way. No more blood for oil. We got our own battles to fight on our own soil. No more psychological warfare to trick us to thinking that we ain't loyal. If we don't serve our own country, we're patronizing a hero. Look in his eyes, it's all lies. The stars and stripes, they've been swiped, washed out and wiped, and replaced with his own face. Mosh now or die. If I get sniped tonight, you'll know why. Cause I told you to fight. Come along.
Very political.
It is, and it's very funny. So this album in general, it does have, political tone like this. And, he's at the peak of his drug use. It wasn't received as well as his previous albums.
No.
And Eminem's made comments himself that, he's not the most proud of this album. And the public, wasn't thrilled about it. I mean, it was still Eminem selling, so, he did well compared to normal people.
Yeah.
But, it was critiqued. But it's very interesting. History is tending to side with him because, like, today, 2022, people generally agree that the Iraq War was a bad move,
Yeah.
of every side. Really, at that time, it was really only libertarians that were against the
Against it.
war. Yeah. I mean, eventually the Democratic Party came around and were anti-war, but
Yeah.
initially everybody was in on it.
Yeah.
Republicans, Democrats, and the libertarians were the only people saying it.
Interesting.
So yeah, history, kind of paints this in a better light. He seems to have been right earlier than most.
Interesting.
Yeah. So he starts off the third verse saying, "Imagine it pouring, it's raining down on us. Mosh pits outside the Oval Office. Someone's trying to tell us something. Maybe this is God just saying we're responsible for this monster, this coward that we have empowered." Then he says, "This is Bin Laden. Look at his head nodding. How could we allow something like this without pumping our fists? Now this is our final hour." So when we go back here, so he says, "Imagine it's pouring, it's raining down on us," and he's saying that it's God sending a message, saying that we're responsible for this monster, this coward that we have empowered. And then he says, "This is Bin Laden." So it sounds like he's talking about Bin Laden, but he also, with this line, could just be talking about Bush. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So when he's saying this coward that we have empowered, that's another thing that, like, it was a more of a libertarian critique at the time. but saying that, the United States' foreign policy is what led to Osama bin Laden attacking us. It wasn't just that, like, he hated us. You know what I mean? So he's kind of alluding to that, we could be somewhat responsible. We weren't just attacked for no reason out of the blue. You know what I mean?
Maybe.
Yeah. And then this has bin Laden. Look at his head nodding. How could we allow something like this without pumping our fists? Now this is our final hour. Continues by saying, let me be the voice in your strength and your choice. Let me simplify the rhyme just to amplify the noise. Try to amplify it. Try to amplify times it. So, okay. Again, these lyrics are fucked. I have them on my phone. Okay. Let me be the voice in your strength and your choice. Let me simplify the rhyme just to amplify the noise. Try to amplify it, times it, and multiply it by 16 million people, all equal at this high pitch. So, yeah.
Interesting.
He's saying he's going to be the voice for, the people in the country who feel this way, who are anti-war, unhappy with Bush. He's going to do it through his rhyme. He's going to amplify everybody who feels that way, multiply it by 16 million people, and everybody's equal at this high pitch because he has such a big, platform that everybody's voice is being heard because he has the same message. And he says, maybe we can reach Al Qaeda through my speech. And then let the president answer a higher anarchy. This is strap him with an AK-47, let him go fight his own war, let him impress daddy that way. So he's saying,
About his father.
Yeah, so George W. Bush is literally just sending people to war, he has no problem with it. So saying, fuck that, go fight your own war, and stop trying to impress your dad because, he fought the Iraqis, Desert Storm. So he was just trying to continue that. And then he says, no more blood for oil. We got our own battles to fight on our own soil. So a very, very common theme at that time, although I do believe the United States never got any oil. So who knows what the fuck the war was actually for.
I don't know.
He says, we got wars to fight on our own soil. So obviously, we got domestic issues that we should be taking care of. No more psychological warfare to trick us into thinking that we ain't loyal. If we don't serve our country, we're patronizing a hero. Look in his eyes, it's all lies. So he's saying, stop literally doing psychological warfare and trying to convince people that if you don't support this specific war in Iraq, that you're
wrong.
You're disloyal, you're unpatriotic. You know what I mean? This is we're patronizing a hero. Look in his eyes, it's all lies. The stars and the stripes, they've been swiped, washed out, and wiped, and replaced with his own face. So pretty much saying he's like a dictator.
Yeah.
Bush. He says, Mosh now or die. If I get sniped tonight, you know why, because I told you to fight. So he's saying, I might get killed for this, but I'm going to say it anyway.
Yeah, but he didn't.
No, he didn't. All right, we'll let this play out.
Tonight, you know why, as I told you to fight. Come along, follow me as I lead through the darkness. As I provide just enough spark that we need to proceed. Carry on, give me hope, give me strength. Come with me, and I won't steer you wrong. Put your faith and your trust as I guide us through the fog to the light. At the end of the tunnel, we gon' fight, we gon' charge, we gon' storm, we gon' march through the smog, we gon' march through the Mosh. Take us right through the doors, come on. And as we proceed to march through this desert storm, in these closing statements, if they should argue, let us beg to differ, as we set aside our differences and assemble our own army to disarm this weapon of mass destruction that we call our president for the present and march for the future of our next generation. To speak and be heard, Mr. President, Mr. Senator.
You guys hear us?
Okay. So, Mosh.
I like the beat. It's alright. Not one of my favorites. I didn't really, I don't know. I just didn't really like it.
Yeah, like the message or the rhyming or
Well, I mean, it's hard to like this song was really for the time, which
yeah,
was like how old was it? It was like almost 20
18,
years
yeah,
ago.
18 years ago.
Yeah, so like that's kind of lost also. And then I didn't really like love all like the rhymes and the verses and everything. Like there were a couple lines that were good, but it was really just more of just a political message and like I never like songs like that. So
Yeah.
I was like, I don't, I'm okay.
Yeah, so you're definitely not alone, you know. A lot of
Mm,
people were unhappy with this song, this album. They didn't like, him being political, which is funny because he ran into the same problem with Trump a few years ago.
yeah,
And he even acknowledged it, on his last album. He says that his fan base was shrinking to thirds over what he said about Trump. So he's, I suppose at the time when he does it, 0 for 2 with his political messages. But I give him the credit because he's aware of that. He
yeah.
knows that. And he's like, fuck, I feel this way, so I'm going to say it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but I will say that like nowadays, like politics is just freaking everywhere. I don't remember it being like this when I was younger. Like honestly, like I remember when I was younger, I'd ask my parents, like, "Oh, what do you think of this? What do you think of that?" And like they wouldn't know. Like back then, like unless you were involved in politics, like aside from voting for the president and like your local elections, people didn't talk about this every day. Like that did not happen. And even still, like my parents are not like very as familiar as like our younger generations are with politics and like policy in general. So I guess my point is that it's so like politics is just everywhere today that like the last place I want to find it is in music.
Yeah.
Like most people like escape to music and I'm not trying to like turn the news off and then listen to a song and then there's more politics there. Like I'm good on that.
Yeah. So again, you're not alone in that. I tend to agree, I suppose there's exceptions to the rules. Like I think about like a lot of the anti-Vietnam War,
So like
like those songs are good. Maybe it's because we
but
didn't live through it.
not when the whole song is just that. Like
Yeah,
if you listen to like Rooster, that's about wartime by Alice in Chains, but it's not complete. It's not only about that,
yeah.
to my knowledge.
I'm thinking of like like Fortunate Son by CCR, Clearance Clearwater Revival. It's like I ain't no senator's son. Like it ain't me, it ain't me. So that's like a very
I think I know that song, but like
it's
it's
political.
got like no offense to Eminem, but like that song has more to it. This was just like straight
Yeah, him
politics. Like
talking.
yeah,
Yeah, no, so I get it. And
like
again,
usually there's like a double meaning. Like the Metallic um one by Metallica.
yeah,
That's about a show where it was a movie that was about the Civil War or one of the wars.
yeah, I forget. Maybe the
And
Civil
it's like
War.
you don't really 100% notice that throughout the whole
Yeah.
song.
Plus, that's more generally like it's talking about the war, not really picking a side. You know what I mean? Whereas this
But it's
is an
also like you
explicit,
could literally take those lyrics. Like when we listened to that song, I was like, oh, like, is it about a relationship? Like you can see it
yeah,
as
yeah,
being about potentially something else.
for sure.
But yeah, sorry. You
Nah.
can't like them all.
No, I
You
get it.
don't like them all.
This isn't one of my favorite songs, but so as I mentioned when we were breaking it down at one point, I do think history's been kind to his views, and most people, there's way more people that agree with the message of this song now than did at the time when he released it. You know
It's
what I
true.
mean? Which is interesting.
I mean, I was too young to have an opinion on it at the time.
Yeah.
And now I don't have enough information to really make much of an educated decision on that. I would need to know literally like forwards and backwards everything that went on during that time to know for sure. And then there's still information that we don't have as people.
Yeah,
Like
no, of
you, we
course.
as just regular, normal people,
Citizen,
we
yeah.
will never know what the real reason why we were anywhere
Yeah, of course.
was. So we'll never know.
Yeah, that's the weird thing for me about the blood for oil thing. It's an interesting message, and if that was true, it's fucked up just to kill innocent people because we want their oil, but we never took it, so that's that's why I don't know what the fuck we were doing there.
I still don't
Yeah,
understand why we don't use our own oil.
yeah, it's a whole other thing,
But okay.
right?
So that was a long tangent. Don't hate me and don't come for me. But
I don't think. I think honestly, most people tend to agree with you, even Eminem fans. Like I said,
yeah,
I don't
no, like I respect him having an
dislike
opinion.
it.
That's totally fine.
Yeah, I don't dislike it as
But I
much
don't want to
as
listen to it in a song.
yeah, I don't dislike it as much as you do, but this is not one of my favorites.
Hmm.
Is what it is.
Yeah. It was good though. I can respect like it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure.
But all right.
All right.
We'll see you guys tomorrow.
Yes.